Buneary, 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 Buneary.
Buneary is cute and innocent, and there's nothing wrong or risque about it at all. Until it evolves. Now it's literally a sex symbol. So what's the deal with Lopunny, Buneary, and Mega Lopunny? I mean, Playboy Bunnies? Didn't those die out in like the mid-2000s, along with the popularity of fur coats? And what more is there to their designs and origins? Well, quite a bit actually. I'm Loxton, and that is what we're going to talk about today on Gnoggin. Oh yeah, full viewer discretion advised. I'd rate today's episode T14 or PG-13, Peggy 12, so be aware of that. Here's a more family-friendly video. Meanwhile, here today... Mega Lopunny is cute, okay? She's like... Oh, wait, hang on. 50-50 ratio. Half of Lopunny are male.
Nice.
Well, either way, they lose a lot of excess fluff when they Mega Evolve. Just like how you can lose a lot of excess fluff with today's sponsor, Manscaped.com. Don't let nicks and cuts turn your Valentine's Day into a violent time day. Lol, punny. Oh god, I said lol punny out loud. More than 2 million men have made Manscaped the #1 men's hygiene and grooming kit that has you covered head to toe. Literally, the nail clippers are the nicest I've ever used. But the star of the show is of course the Lawnmower 3.0 body hair trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks and cuts to your most sensitive areas. It's even waterproof, and it's a light. It helps you avoid bad hair days. Their perfect package includes Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, which makes this the ultimate gift for yourself or your man. They help you stay funky smell free and cool when things start heating up. And now they have the new Refined Cologne, which features a subtle yet enticing woody scent, which is very fitting. Give your partner an extra special gift this Valentine's Day. You, but mega you, with the help of Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com with the link in the description and use the code LOXTIN20 to get 20% off and free shipping. And a big thanks to them again for their support. So, did you know that Buneary is the only Pokemon to naturally learn the move Frustration? By naturally learn it, I of course mean they learn it via level up instead of through a TM or a tutor. It's intrinsic to their very nature, rather than needing to be taught it from the outside. And the only Pokemon to do that? What's the deal with that? Well, it's pretty interesting actually. So they learned the move Frustration at level 13, but Lopunny, its evolution, learns Return at level 13 also. And Lopunny is also the only Pokemon to naturally learn Return. So clearly this is on purpose. If you don't know, Return gets stronger based on how high the user's friendship level is with its trainer, while Frustration, on the other hand, is the opposite. The lower the friendship, the stronger it is. And the evolution of Buneary to Lopunny is friendship-based after all, and you find it early enough in the Diamond and Pearl game in Eternia Forest, so basically, this relationship they have with these moves is a testament to how quickly you as a trainer can become friends with your Pokemon. Buneary evolves with friendship, and it learns Frustration if it isn't evolved by that time. It's frustrated with you, its trainer. Whereas, if it has evolved by then, that means you are very close friends with it, and it wants to return the love. So it learns the move. Though, this is only made harder with the additional fun fact that Buneary is also the only non-legendary, non-mythical, non-Ultra Beast Pokemon, so it's the only regular Pokemon, to start with a base friendship level of 0. For reference, the majority of Pokemon start with a friendship level of 70. They get it just by you capturing them. And then 255 is the maximum. But is this the case only to make it more difficult to get a Lopunny, or is there something more to it? Well, having a pet rabbit takes a lot of patience. There are forums upon forums of people asking for advice or what the time frame is for how long it takes a new pet bunny to warm up to you. And in some cases it's 6 months to a year, and that's while actively trying every day to show it that you were nice and that it is safe. Rabbits are skittish and skeptical and easily frightened, which makes sense. They are delicious, tasty prey animals. In the wild, they are hunted by so many things from so many angles at so many speeds. If it moves, it probably wants to eat them. Coyotes, wolves, wildcats, domestic cats, weasels, domestic ferrets, bears, raccoons, snakes, falcons, eagles. They gotta be constantly watching all around and above them. They have to be ready to run at a single moment's notice, because if it moves, it wants to eat him. Because rabbit stew is delicious. Well, they gotta worry about people as hunters too, don't they? This worrisome demeanor is mentioned in their Pokedex entries. When it senses danger, it perks up its ears. When it's scared, both ears are rolled up. Extremely cautious, it quickly bounds off when it senses danger. And Lopunny is constantly monitoring its surroundings. If danger approaches, this Pokemon responds with super destructive kicks. Most of the animals that we commonly keep as pets are predators, whereas rabbits are the top of the food chain. Oh god, I said the opposite thing. You'll have to forgive me though, because Lopunny both bottoms and tops. So they come off as extra fearful and take a long time to warm up to their owners. Often, they'll seem frustrated every time you walk into the room or try to interact with them, stomping their foot. They can't run away while inside, so they get frustrated, and they try their best to intimidate you. They seem angry. But as any successful bunny owner will tell you, when they finally do warm up to you, the reward is amazing. The return for all of your hard work is well worth it. And they will cuddle up in your lap and let you pet them, and they are so soft. So much softer than you, Sasha. But I still love you. And this whole dynamic with pet rabbits is likely what inspired them having this relationship with these moves, and their whole evolution situation, which I think works really well. But speaking of rabbits as pets, I was curious about whether or not the Lop Eared trait that some of them have has to do with their domestication. So I looked into that. Rabbit domestication started somewhere around the year 600 by French monks who were looking to use them as a meat substitute during Lent, because religion is all about finding exceptions to the rules. So don't you worry, vegetarians, you can have all the rabbit stew you want. Rabbits aren't meat. But it turns out, even back then, some rabbits were lop-eared. It turns out domestication didn't cause them at all. It's just more common now because it's a desired trait by some. More people wanted them because they think it's cute. So they bred the ones with lop ears together. But the lop in the ear just happens when the ear itself gets too big and heavy for the skull and muscle to support it, so it just falls. That's why some rabbits will have only one droopy ear. There's even droops called horn droops, where both of the ears droop forward, so they look like little horns. As Charles Darwin observed, lop-eared rabbits were much more common where it was warm and dry. This is likely because rabbits use their large ears to help cool off. The larger the ear, the more they can keep cool. So the warmer the climate, the bigger the ear, and when the ear is too big, it falls over. Simple as. Due to that, of course, we cannot point to a single domestic rabbit and say that's the one Lopunny and Buneary are based on, but the English Lop and Holland Lop seem to be the closest. Now, other than meat that doesn't count as meat and companionship, rabbits are good for another thing. Their fur. Both through skinning a hunted rabbit or through just brushing out their loose fur when shedding and then making yarn out of it. Rabbit fur is widely considered to be some of the softest and fanciest, and it's quite lovely and warm. And this is also mentioned by the Pokedex entries. On cold nights, it sleeps with its head tucked into its fur. This is especially nice because female rabbits have what is called a dewlap, an extra chunk of fat underneath their fur, which is right below their necks. It allows them to stuff their face in their chest to keep warm, and the main reason the females have it is because it's easy access for them to pull fur out to make nests with. Anyway, back to Pokedex entries. Once hot seasons are over, Lopunny's coat will be replaced with fur that holds a lot of insulating air in preparation for colder weather. Lopunny regrows its coat twice a year. Mufflers and hats made from its fur are really warm. And speaking of mufflers, I'm sure Buneary's rolled up ear is supposed to resemble a earmuff, a fancy earmuff at that. And while on the topic of clothing, Lopunny's fur resembles long women's fur-cuffed boots, as well as women's fur-cuffed winter coats. What with the fur cuffs and all. While primarily faux fur these days, for a time, rabbit fur along with mink were the most commonly used in these articles of clothing for wealthy women, simply due to the fact that it's some of the softest and nicest fur available. And do you think Lopunny's ears are supposed to sort of resemble an unchanka? Those fur Russian hats that droop down over your ears to keep your ears warm? Notably, the name Ushanka comes from the Slavic word for ear, ushi. And I'm probably mispronouncing all of this, but typically, the further north you go, the more big furry coats and clothes like this you'll see. And speaking of the north is where we will find the origin of the word bunny, which wasn't originally used to describe rabbits at all. The first known use of the word bunny was from around the 17th century in Scotland, where it was used to refer to girls and young women, and is still used as such to this day, with ski bunny, beach bunny, etc. Over time, though, the word would start to encompass other small, cute mammals, especially those with cute butts, such as rabbits and squirrels. And to this day, you can still find people in the UK referring to squirrels as bunnies, but for the most part, for the rest of us, it typically refers to small, adorable rabbits. But bunny, originally meaning girl or young woman, that just fits perfect, right? Considering Lopunny appears both anatomically and fashionarily feminine. Is fashionarily a word? And I mean Lopunny's pose, that just screams feminine as well. And just listen to the cry! It ends with the classic "You're so sexy" whistle, also known as the wolf whistle. I didn't know it was called the wolf whistle until I started looking into all this. While it's been used for centuries, it's known as a wolf whistle today due to one of its earliest uses in pop media. And it's been used and expanded upon in all sorts of media. And that last clip from Batman Returns, it brings up another trope that Lopunny perhaps references, one known as naked in mink, or nothing but fur, or its G-rated version, going fur a swim. It's where, in media, usually wealthy, sexy ladies, often singers at high-end clubs, top-of-the-line models, or the wives of some rich and powerful guys, will wear a fur coat and little to nothing underneath. Fur coats are a sign of wealth due to how expensive they are, especially mink, weasel, and rabbit. So it's a quick and easy way to show a woman character's wealth really quickly. Oh, and hang on, bring those last few back down. Yes. Playboy, as in the world's most famous adult magazine. You mean the one with numerous covers featuring overly attractive women in fur coats and or holding their arms up to their chests in a similar pose to Lopunny? You mean the adult men's entertainment magazine whose mascot is the Playboy Bunny? Yes, we've gone full circle. It all comes together. From the 1960s to the late 80s, Playboy clubs and magazines were the #1 source of this kind of thing. And at those clubs were numerous Playboy Bunnies. While the popularity of the costume peaked globally in the 80s, they continued to be a big thing in Japan, and since Pokemon is a Japanese game, I'm sure you see where this is all going. There are far more bunny girl clubs in Japan these days than there are in the United States, and it's such a part of their identity now that numerous games and anime reference them. In fact, it was such an intrinsic part of otaku culture that Daikon 3 and 4, which was the anime convention to go to in Japan in the 80s, features a bunny girl as their own mascot, the symbol of anime as a whole. And being such a big thing over there, it's no wonder it only took 4 generations to see a reference to them in Animal Crossing. What? Now that I think about it, is there an Animal Crossing character that's a bunny girl? Probably. I meant to say Pokemon, clearly. I'm losing it. But real quick, as for why bunny girls of all things, it has to do with the mating habits of rabbits. They can start mating when only 4 months old, will mate around 40 times in a week, sometimes 40 times in a day, and be pregnant for only 30 days. And then they can start mating less than a week later. They are horny little creatures. It's no wonder the jackalope became a thing.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But rabbits as a sex symbol isn't anything new. Ancient Greeks, ancient European pagans, Aztecs, they all share the idea that rabbits represent fertility, so sacrificing one will help your own fertility, clearly. But before we end this video, we gotta talk about Mega Lopunny. According to the Pokedex, Mega Evolution awakens its combative instincts, and it has shed any fur that got in the way of its attacks. Endless fluff can decrease your agility, so that makes sense. But it can also be a reference to how bunny girls and women in that field often remove, like, all body hair. It can also be a reference to that naked in mink trope again. Now, the coat has come off. But considering the coloration and style of the leg skin sort of resembling tights, the ears resembling hair put up in multiple scrunchies, which was very much in fashion at the time, and the fur on the arms looking a lot like leg warmers, on top of the main source for regular Lopunny being most popular in the late 80s, I think it's safe to say that Mega Lopunny is inspired by women's aerobic workout videos from the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, how else do you think Playboy bunnies and models stayed in such perfect shape back then? Mega Lopunny resembles when they get tough and active. And I think that's pretty cool. But what do you think? Think Pokemon was pushing it a little bit with its mainly focused at kids target audience? I mean, it's not like kids' cartoons aimed at kids have ever been devoid of adult jokes and references, but still, I think it might have been pushing it a little bit. And also, have anything to add? Want to help support the channel? Then be sure to let me know down below, and while you're down there, check out manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you! And never stop using your noggin.
Buneary, 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 Buneary.